Welcome back everybody to PyBites YouTube, and today a quick video about getting fake data from Markerrule and using the collections module to parse the data into a meaningful data structure. Let's first go to Markerrule.com, which is a great website to create fake data. And for this exercise I'm going to get some cars data, and I only need two fields. The manufacturer, or here it's called make, and the car model. I name the fields the same. I want 1000 rows, which is the default, and CSV format, and I can preview the data. This looks good to me. And then I download the data. That's now in my downloads folder, so I move it over to my collections directory. And to quickly verify this is correct, we have 1001 rows, where the first row is the header. And now we're going to write a script to parse in that data, and then we get to the core of this video, which is to show the collections module. So I'm going to use CSV and mainly for now Defaultdict. I'm going to just write my code in the main body, and we can worry about functions later. And this is some Jedi Vim autocomplete, which I'm slowly getting into. But we're going to use the mock data CSV file. And I'm going to use CSV dict reader, which can read in this file. And I'm going to assign it back to rows, and then I'm going to loop over the rows. I don't need to install any packages, this is just standard library. And I did this wrong because every character is now in the dictionary. And as we look through the dict reader documentation, the dict reader actually takes a file object. So I don't have to call read on this. I can just give it f, which is the file handle. And let's call this reader. And now we should have a better result. So we get a bunch of dictionaries where we have make and model. Now the cool part, I want to get a dictionary where the keys are the manufacturer and the values are the cars, the models, right? But I also don't want to have duplicates of the cars, of the models, because this was a real use case I had the other day with HTMX, which I can show in another video. But we basically wanted to have a cascading drop-down sequence where the first select box or drop-down was the car manufacturer, and when that was selected, HTMX would dynamically show the car models for that manufacturer. But then of course this is fake data, so it has any number of cars, so there might be duplicates in this data set. So to solve that is to use a set instead of a list. So let me back up and show you what I mean. So I'm going to make a Defaultdict, and here's the documentation for Defaultdict. So it's a subclass of the built-in dict, and the first argument provides the initial value for the default factory attribute. It defaults to none. So inside the Defaultdict, when we construct that object, we can give it a data structure we want to use as the value, and I will show you the benefits. So here we're going to use a set, and then for each row we're going to write cars row make, and we use the sets add method to add the, what was it? Model. And let's use a breakpoint to see what the car's Defaultdict looks like. I need to clean this up at some point, but here we have cars, and if we do pretty print cars, we see a nice Defaultdict where the keys are the manufacturers and the values are the car models. What is awesome about this? Well, if this was a regular dictionary, then you get a key error, right? Because you cannot just append or add to a list unless the key is in the dictionary. So if I run this, directly gets a key error because Audi is not in the dictionary yet. So you'd have to write code like if row make not in cars, then first create a new key in the dictionary and initializing that to the new data structure, and then you can safely add it to it. I need to run Python 3 and that should get the same result. So yeah, Defaultdict is way more concise because you don't have to do that initialization. The Defaultdict mechanics does that for you. I have to say there is a set default method for dictionaries, so you can do something similar, but personally I find Defaultdict a no-brainer in terms of conciseness and readability. So this is how you make a Defaultdict of sets. You can also use list, but again, then this would be append rather, but then in this scenario we get duplicate cars potentially. So let's look at that as well. So here we got a V70 and another V70. So that was the reason I went for a set, to deduplicate values. So how a set works is so the first instance it will edit. The second different car it will edit. But if we then add the same car, it won't edit again because values in a set are unique. So that's very powerful, and I use sets actually quite a lot. Of course we would throw this in a function, etc. I will do a follow-up video how I actually use this in HTMX. Meanwhile, I hope this was helpful. While we're here, I also want to quickly show counter. Cannot do a collections video without counter, so let me also keep a list of manufacturers, and for every row in reader just append the manufacturer, and that should give us a whole bunch of manufacturers. And to see how many times each manufacturer is in this list, we can wrap it into a counter object. So we can make a counter object, pass in this list, it can be any iterable, and then we should have, let me again demo this with a breakpoint. Now we have a counter object, and by default it already sorts descending on the amount of elements descending. It also has a very convenient most common method, which you can give a number of top n. So I get the most common cars in this dataset are Ford up until Volkswagen. So again, counter, one line of code, powerful concept. Really cool what collections can do. Other cool things in collections are name tuple, order dict, and chaining. But yeah, I will leave it at this one. I think these two, together with name tuple, are the ones I use the most. And I hope this will inspire you to use the collections module as well. Hey, this is Bob again. Hope you enjoyed this video and that you're eager to use the collections module more in your code. It really leads to concise Pythonic code. It's almost Black Friday, and we as PyBites have a promo going on, 40% off on a book, courses, and platform tiers. Check it out in the link below, and see you in that next video.